What's up, everybody? It's your boy Welly F, and you are tuned in to the Red Pill content. Get well soon. Today's episode, as you see, is the love language myth. This topic to me is very, very important. And I never even thought I would even come back to this topic again because I've talked about it on a podcast before. But last night we were having a conversation and a couple of young ladies brought the ideal of love languages up. And for those of you that don't know, love languages is a concept that was created by American author Gary DeMonte Chapman, 82-year-old fella. He's married, Southern Baptist guy, real traditional values. He's a radio host. And like I said, this is something he coined, the 5 love languages, which are physical touch, quality time, gift giving, acts of service, and words of affirmation. So to get to the point, last night I was having a conversation with 2 young ladies and a homeboy of mine, and in the midst of that conversation, I realized that, every time I'm talking to women, they always kind of come back to the notion of love languages being an essential part of a relationship. I don't believe that to be true. My quick take on it was, at the end of the day, it's all about personalities. Personalities. Like, in the end, your personality and who you are, how life has shaped you is going to say, and it's going to be the end all be all in whether you connect with a person and y'all are able to mesh and vibe. I don't think love languages is really that essential when it comes to a relationship, only because I think the maintenance of love languages is tougher than just meeting somebody where y'all have a good chemistry and y'all personalities don't clash. So I don't even want to focus too much on personalities because that could be another topic for another day. But my point is, what love languages is, people need to understand something. Well, y'all don't need to understand something. I would like for you to understand this. Love languages are not easily reciprocated. It really only works when the love language you acquire is something that your mate speaks flawlessly. They are fluent in the love language that you acquire. For example, if I go to Mexico and I'm lost and I need directions, 9 times out of 9, I'm going to hope that I come across an English-speaking Mexican so they can give me directions to where I need to go. And it is, in that sense, when they're giving me those directions, I'm confident that he's giving me directions that I could comprehend without having to go to Google Translate or happen to try to tap back into my Spanish knowledge in order to make sure I don't get lost. So what I'm saying is, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I simply hope that they speak my language without me having to even tell them, hey, this is the language I need you to speak, because I think that that's unrealistic. You may think that it's unrealistic for me to meet somebody that speaks my language, but I think that's more probable than thinking that I'm going to train one of these modern women to speak my language. Because women, one, unless you have a submissive woman that's really just into you and she's basically your damn fan, she's probably not going to be willing to be trained or taught anything by you, especially not one of these independent women. Like, they're not about that life. Women today especially want you to take them flaws and all. So 9 times out of 9, when you're dealing with a woman, it's very unlikely that you're probably going to be able to speak her language. effortlessly. You're probably going to have to adjust who you are in order to keep them happy. And let's just be honest. Even if you speak their love language on a consistent basis, like, all you're doing is applying pressure. You're making them have to step their game up. And that's probably not going to happen, because I'm going to be honest with you. In all my life, and with my experiences with women of all creed, all colors, all backgrounds, they don't like to work. So I always laugh when a woman tells me love requires work. But y'all don't even like to work. It is not natural for a woman to get up and just be this hard, dedicated worker unless it's the only option. I don't think that it is a natural occurrence for a woman to just want to be a worker bee. Women are just not like that. They're not wired that way. A lot of times these modern women are only working because it's a societal norm now, and a lot of them are literally just trying to prove that they're beneficial to the workforce. So understand something. Somebody's telling you love requires work, man, that's just they're warning you that they're complicated. They're warning you that they're a handful. That's a red flag. I would run. Because I'm telling you right now, even if you speak their love language consistently, by doing that, you're applying pressure. You're letting them know that you're this special guy. And once again, if you actually prove that you're this high value special guy and the woman you're dealing with is not, you're basically putting her in a position to run away. She'll be intimidated by that, depending on the type of woman you have. And you have to understand something. I'm going to say it once again. Love languages are not easily reciprocated. A lot of people don't meet people on first hand, and they meet somebody and they're saying like, well, my primary love language is acts of service. And then you tell them my primary love language is physical touch. The way shit just happens to work in this world, you'll probably meet a woman that doesn't even like being touched, and she's not even going to want to touch you that much. As crazy as that sounds. That's just a random example, but I'm just saying, you're going to meet a woman that when you tell her your love language, she's probably going to roll her eyes, because that's how shit works. Now, your secondary love language, she may be able to oblige to it because it's more natural to her to probably be words of affirmation. Because let's just be honest, words really don't mean shit, and women love to run their mouth. So words of affirmation, that's something that a woman can do fairly easily, because most women talk a whole bunch. They like to talk, and some of them like to listen. But for the most part, a lot of men aren't much talkers. So that's where things get that iffy, because if you're dealing with a woman that requires words of affirmation and you're not much of a talker, not much of a guy that spills out useless compliments, you're going to clash. That's why I think it all comes back to personality. And when I say personality, I mean Myers-Briggs, I mean INTJ, ENTJ, IFSJ, literally introvert, extrovert, ambivert, all those things to me are going to come to the forefront when it's time to decide, is this relationship going to be sustainable? Love language, that's just background noise. At this point, I look at love languages the same way I look at horoscopes. Yeah, they're cute, it's good to know, but in the end, what is your personality type? What type of personality are you? Where do you come from? What's your background? Why are you the way that you are? Like, that stuff is going to matter. And it's funny because this whole conversation it just came about based on the fact that they basically was trying to get me and a friend of mine to build the perfect woman. And I'm just like, ideally, we know there's no such thing. And when it all comes down to it, no matter how much money you have, no amount of money is going to give you the perfect woman. You can't, no amount of money is going to give you the amount of money that you need to build the perfect woman. Sorry. Because in the end, it's all about personality. And personally to me, you can't sell me some Nicholas Sparks fairy tale with a happy ending, because I'm beyond that. Call me jaded, ask me who hurt me, doesn't matter. I'm beyond that. Right now, with all this BS going on in the world, we don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time to be sitting there worried about if I can build something with a woman. No, I have better things to do. So until then, I'm going to continue on my journey. I'm going to focus on me being a better person in general. If a woman wants to come across and be a secondary part of my life at best, because I don't think that I'm at my best when a woman is my focal point. So if a woman wants to come around and just kind of be, background noise almost, and just be a flavor of the week type of thing, cool. But I would never give my total attention to a woman, because at that point I won't be at my best. And I was thinking when I was watching Street Fighter the other day, and I was just looking at how, in my opinion, Ryu was such a greater fighter than Ken, based on and Fei Long and a bunch of other characters, based on the fact that his focus was his fighting, and he was always a man going his own way, and nothing was gonna get in the way and to deter him from being the greatest fighter on the planet. Whether that was his goal or not, he was always going to be a greater fighter based on the fact that he didn't have those worldly distractions in his way. So he was always a step ahead of the other fighters. And it was cool to see that, and it was a reminder to myself of why there's nothing wrong with being a single man that doesn't have a woman as his primary focus, because at that point I can remain, a Ryu in this world rather than a Ken, Ken was a hell of a fighter too, but he had those worldly distractions that kept a notch under Ryu. So Ryu, however you want to say it, you know what I mean. But either way, I'll end on that note of saying I still feel love languages are a myth. I don't really know the fascination of them, to be honest, at this point as I get older. Like I said, maybe it's jaded, maybe, who knows. I just know until somebody tells me that it's actually worked with a modern woman, then we can talk. But I have no reason to try it. I can care less. Y'all do what y'all want to do with this information. And with that being said, don't forget, rate, comment, and subscribe. Until we meet again.